Welcome back. Things are quiet as we've been telling you, but lots of money raising on the one hand, some important numbers and some result reactions. So there's plenty for the market, including expiry. Ambarish Palika joins in to talk about that in a bit. So will many other market experts. Ambarish, morning. Just winding up with this series. What are your expectations of the market as it steps into June?
Clearly, I think the downside is limited. We have seen that despite a major cut which we saw in the last two occasions, we have seen that the market has been able to bounce back. So clearly, I think the bottom is defined. Clearly, there is a extremely good support at about 59.40, 59.70 levels. That is the range where there's support. And the way the liquidity is coming in, we clearly expect that the markets would head higher. And will not really be surprised in the next couple of weeks, if not the next 1 or 2 months, we should be able to see levels of 6300, 6350.
Morning, Ambarish. What do you do with Tata Motors now after seeing yesterday's numbers?
Numbers were better than the street expectations, so possibly we could see some bounce from here. But still, we are still a bit concerned about the Chinese demand, although Chinese demand helped GRI in the last quarter. But going ahead, clearly we are seeing some amount of slowdown, and JLR may not really be able to help the local numbers, which will still continue to be weak over the next at least 2 to 3 quarters. So I think at higher levels, Tata Motors would be a decent sell.
What do you do with a stock like HDIL and the news flow surrounding it, Ambarish?
HDIL again, if you look at the last possibly 1.5 to 2 years, there's hardly been any good news in HDIL. Reality sector is seeing a slowdown, and now with this airport project being off for them, clearly is a major negative. So I think even at these levels, it's a sell.
What do you expect to see from DLF though? That's been reasonably stable amongst this entire set.
DLF again, I think the numbers from the normal business would still continue to be weak. They've been selling assets which is clearly positive, but then I think that's already there in the price. So I really don't see much of an upside.
What are your expectations from M&M's numbers today, Ambarish?
M&M's numbers should continue to be strong. I think that's one of the few in the auto pack which should still continue to perform better. So in fact, our pick in the auto sector would basically be Maruti and M&M, but Maruti would be at lower levels.
So what's the next trigger for the market, you think, aside of liquidity, as we look into the June series?
I think monsoons would be one major trigger for the markets because monsoons are expected to be slightly earlier than earlier expected. So that would be one trigger, and because of which you will see the food inflation starting to move down. And already we have seen overall inflation on the way down. I think that's going to be a major trigger, and with that possibly we should have further cuts. In fact, we expect that we should have at least a 50-75 basis points cut in the rates going ahead in the next possibly 6 months.
What does this 6300 target for the Nifty mean for the broader market, Ambarish? Because that's the problem. The mid-caps have not really moved.
Absolutely.
In fact, there have been some of these individual accidents through the month of May. Do you expect to see the market broadening out at all in June?
Participation will still be an issue unless we see a major consolidation in this range between 6,000 to 6,350. Once people are quite sure that the markets will not really break down, I think what we have seen in the past has made people extremely circumspect, cautious about the markets, because of which we are not seeing broader participation. But then I suppose the next move, in case we see that between 6,350 to 6,800, I think that is the time you will have a lot of fence sitters who have not been in the market for the last few years actually coming back, and that's the time I think you will clearly see that broader participation. I think that 6350 to 6800 is possibly the level in the market where the public will make money. Till date, most of the Indian investors have not really been making any money. It's basically been the institutions.
There have been some fairly dramatic moves on pharmaceuticals as a sector, Ambarish. Sun Pharma, AstraZeneca on one hand, and things like Ranbaxy, yesterday's Wockhardt performance on the other. What are you guys buying from there?
In fact, this is what I was saying, that in the past couple of years, clearly there's a shift from the old boys to the new ones. I mean, we have seen the performance of Cipla, we have seen what's happened to Ranbaxy. So clearly, if you're talking of, say, about 5 to 10 years back, I mean, the portfolio would have had a Dr. Reddy, Ranbaxy and Cipla as top buys. That has now clearly shifted to Sun Pharma, Lupin and Dr. Reddy. I think that's only one of the few old boys which is still performing. So these are our 3 picks in the pharma sector.
Mehrabun, morning. How are you mapping the June series?
Basically, Udai, we believe that the stock markets are basically consumers, purveyors of cold economic data, and they're completely bereft of any emotion, any prejudice, which we humans ultimately end up suffering from. Now, the data is indicating that unless it really worsens very badly from here, there are no reasons to have a very bearish case for India over the next few months of 2013. The point is, the macros have improved, the markets have gone up. From the present level, what? I think a correction is possibly warranted, can happen. Corporate results are going to be behind us, things are getting discounted, things have gone up. The things on the ground need to improve. So we will have to watch out now for the IIP numbers now, which will be of more significance than what they have been in the past. We'll have to look out for cement numbers, auto numbers. Now all those will become important. At the end of it all, I personally feel that a lot of things yet needs to be done by the government, and reforms need to continue. If the parliament doesn't function, so what things can happen outside the parliament. So at the end of it all, the things on the ground level, at the micro level, now needs to start improving. If it doesn't improve, the market could have a temporary setback. That's what we personally see.
A setback to what kind of levels you think?
I think in the worst possible scenario, we feel that we are unlikely to see a Nifty below 5,500 Orion. I think if there is a decent monsoon, or the monsoon starts on a decent note, if the RBI cut rates, I think for all you know, we could be staring at a new high in the very foreseeable future.
Mehrabun, good morning. Today's star is probably going to be Tata Motors. Any thoughts on that stock?
I think we have been very positive on Tata Motors for quite some time. I think it remains the best cyclical idea according to us. The numbers much better than expected. I think domestic performance of Tata Motors is something which the market should have started ignoring, and I personally feel at least should start ignoring completely. I think JLR contributes nearly 90% of the company's sales now. As far as JLR goes, very decent performance. But what is more important to know is the slew of models which the company plans to launch over the next 3 to 4 years is going to expand its addressable market multifold over the next 3 to 4 years. And we believe that even if JLR ends up acquiring only 5% of the incremental market over the next 3 to 4 years, their sales could at least double over the next 3 years. So we are very positive on Tata Motors, and our target over the next 2 to 2.5 years could be a price of even above 500 rupees. So the stock has gone up. I think it should meet with a very warm reception at the bourses today. The ADR was up sharply. So the stock would be up sharply up today. I think a correction definitely one should go and buy into this particular stock, because I personally feel and we personally believe that somewhere one should possibly reduce the weightage on defensives and start looking at cyclicals. And we personally feel Tata Motors and maybe somewhere one should go and buy into Larsen & Toubro are the best cyclical ideas right now.
What about a sector like IT, Mehrabun? We haven't yet seen any big reaction on IT stocks because of what's happened with the rupee, but would you start looking at that space now?
If one looks at the way IT stocks have moved, I think the first 2 months were very good for the IT sector. The IT index outperformed the broader indices by a wide margin. But looking at what has happened, and while one can attribute this to company-specific issues, be it Infosys or be it Wipro, at the end of it all, market has realized somewhere that the valuation-wise, for the time being, they're fully valued. And the market has started looking out for opportunities elsewhere. So over the last 1 month, one notices that nothing much is happening as far as IT stocks goes. I personally feel the Indian IT story is very much intact. And if we look at things improving globally, especially Europe over the next 1 to 3 years, there are reasons to be positive on IT. So I think the best bets continue to remain TCS, along with even HCL Technologies. And with the huge cash at its disposal, somewhere along the line, I think if some positive news comes, or maybe an acquisition or something coming from Infosys, that stock could possibly be the dark horse. But at the moment, I think whatever has happened at Infosys over the next 1 to 3 quarters, over the last 1 to 3 quarters, has been disappointing to say the least. I think I remember somebody telling me, and I fully agree with that view, that there was a time when Infosys was supposed to be the sun pharma of the IT. What I'm trying to say is always conservative, ultimately exceeding projections. Now, over the last 3-4 quarters, it's just the opposite. So somewhere along the line, if it can get back the confidence of the market in it, and if it uses the cash well, it could be the dark horse. For the time being, I think one will continue concentrating on TCS and SCN technologies. In the mid-caps, there are decent picks like an NIIT Technologies, which we feel is available at decent valuations. But on the whole, I think IT, despite the rupee becoming weak again, could continue to perform in line with the market to maybe underperform over the next 1-2 months.
Stay on, gentlemen. Need to take a break. Those are Alok Industries' numbers flashing on your screens. Looks like there's some slippage on the bottom line, but no more details available. Sales have grown for them year on year. More when we come back. Welcome back. As we've been telling you, some softness for the SGX Nifty this morning. So let's see how we open up in trade. It's also expiry day. Hemant Tukral joins in to talk about that. Hemant, good morning. Your big day. How do you think the market is stepping into the month of June? Can the Nifty continue on the uptrend, or are you getting cautious?
See, morning Mithali. Mithali, if we analyze the way the data is shaping up for the next series, I think after a very volatile series of May, the way it has oscillated between the lows and the highs, finally we will be having a month of slight consolidations, because if you see the way the put writers have accumulated the position in June, their main bet is 5950 and 6000. That 50-point support zone, if it continues to hold, then I think the call writer zone is only above 6200. So if you are a person who is taking a positional call, and if you see some profit taking today, I think one should go long around that 6030, 6050 levels, keep a stop loss of 5950, and I think we may retest 6210 in the early part of the June series. But the way the individual stock rollovers are happening, it clearly suggests that it is more of a stock picking market. So I think slight consolidation may continue, but I still hold a positive bias. Still Nifty is holding above that 5950, 6000 levels.
Morning, Hemant. The Bank Nifty has been a bit of a laggard through the May series. Do you see that providing any leadership in the early part of the June series, or that's not where you're seeing the biggest build-up happening?
See, Udyan, that is actually the worrying spot. I think you have absolutely said it right. It is the laggard, and even if you check the rollovers, especially the PSU bank side, they are not suggesting the same strength. Whether it is SBI, whether it is Oriental Bank, PNB, these banks which are trader favorite banks, they are not showing that strength. The rollover strength still continues with the private banks, something like an ICICI Bank or a Yes Bank. So maybe the private banks may continue, but still I feel that unless until the PSU banks participate, it will be very difficult for Bank Nifty to cross that 13,000 level, because that is the crucial benchmark level for me. I will be only interested in buying Bank Nifty if it crosses 13,000 on the upside. Otherwise, I think it will be actually putting pressure on Nifty rather than helping Nifty.
Medabun, how do you approach a stock like NMDC, which has disappointed such a lot after the issue? They announced a dividend yesterday, which works out to almost a 6% dividend yield, but still investors don't seem very interested.
Yeah, at the most, looking at the overall scenario right now as far as this entire sector goes and stocks in this particular sector goes, I think in defense of NMDC, the only thing which one can say is that attractively valued, decent assets, everything fine. But why one should go and buy into it? Because if you don't see the performance improving, at least in the foreseeable future, there are no reasons why NMDC should be bought into. So at the most, one can say from the present level, as you rightly pointed out, dividend yield wise is attractive. There is not too much of downside. One can buy for the longer term, but what longer term are we talking about? So in a market in which possibly opportunities would keep on coming if the market corrects a little bit, I think NMDC at most can be a stock which you can ignore for the time being, while stating, oh, it's a good company, decent balance sheet, but I am not in a great hurry to buy the stock.
Ambarish, any thoughts on a stock like Sri Renuka? What did you make of the numbers there?
Numbers were more or less in line, but then again the sugar sector overall, we don't see any sort of a trigger, at least in the foreseeable future. In fact, we don't see the sugar prices moving up from here. So I think at least for the next 2 or 3 quarters, I think it's still time to ignore the sugar stocks, although they have corrected decently well in the last 12 to 15 months. But still, it's not a time to buy.
Interestingly, this morning, Morgan Stanley has announced that they're discontinuing coverage on Sri Renuka. Of course, the ostensible reason is reallocation of resources, but numbers didn't look special, Udayan, and sugar has just sort of fallen out of the radar. I mean, all that partial decontrol, etc. came and went, but no one's interested in sugar anymore.
Forgotten sector, you're right, Mithali, and for the right reason. I never understood why people were jumping up and down on that sugar sector, because it's a low grade commodity sector with very little, highly cyclical, completely at the mercy of government regulation, mostly fairly low grade managements in most of the sector. So it never struck me as a great sector which would generate returns for shareholders. I think it's just the hangover of a time 3 or 4 years back when sugar went through a cycle where people made a bit of money, and the memory of that keeps people floating around in these sectors. But you just go back and look at the history of some of these low grade global commodities like sugar, paper, etc. These stocks generally don't create wealth for shareholders in the long term. So India is a market where even in bad times you can find really good run, well run companies in good sectors. I don't see why people would be barking down the road of sectors like sugar, which may give you returns for 6 months, 9 months in a purple patch once in 7 years, but otherwise they'll most likely frustrate you if you are taking investment calls there.
Yeah, just like everyone in Calcutta is always a perma bull on the tea stocks. Hemant, you're bullish on Dr. Reddy's this morning. How are you playing that? Because pharma was very active yesterday.
See, Mithali, this sector is again showing signs of good rollovers. I am not keeping apart a stock like Ranbaxy where the rollovers have not shown any strength. But if you check Sun Pharma, Lupin, Dr. Reddy's, all three are showing good rollovers. Sun Pharma has already shown a very good move yesterday. I think Dr. Reddy has a move due. And also if you check technically, the stock has crossed that 2100 zone which was acting as a stiff resistance. So if I see that way, I think it should move up to 2175, 2180 in immediate short term. And a traders who is going long should keep a stop loss around 2070, 2075, which is the 20 days moving average. I think till it holds above it, the stock is good to move up from here.
From infra, Hemant, you're still going with BHEL. You think there's more upside in this pullback?
See, Udin, there are two particular reasons why I'm going with BHEL this time. Is first the rollover cost. Though a slight technical point, but the way the rollovers are happening, and it always has a very declining or a negative cost as we move forward to the next series. Now this time the futures to the next month are absolutely flat, and the rollovers are very encouraging, clearly telling that long positions have been rolled. And if you see, BHEL now is forming a very strong bottom around that 195, 196 mark, and again it has crossed that 200 rupees where 50 days moving average was acting as a resistance zone. So I think in immediate short term we will see it revisiting 200 DMA. That means in next one week I expect it to do that. So a target of 216 where 200 days moving average is there, and one should keep a stop loss of 196 on this stock. I think it should do good in June series.
Let's take a break, come back. We are about to hit the pre-opening on expiry day in about 5 minutes time.
Welcome back. Waiting for pre-opening rates. Asia, as we've been telling you, has been trading with some weakness. The SGX Nifty should be up on your screens. That has extended its losses, now down about 12 points or so. And Japan is in a tight spot. That market has lost about 400 points. So let's see what our own opening looks like. Mehrabun, we were just discussing pharmaceutical stocks. What do you do with a face like Ranbaxy now?
Well, on the whole, we have become quite underweight suddenly in pharma. I think somewhere along the line, the price control order that the government has introduced, I think that has been largely ignored, according to me, by my friends among pharma analysts. We see a sharp drop in the top line of some of the pharma companies going ahead. And in terms of valuations, I think most of them are quite rich. We continue to favor Sun Pharma, Lupin, and my favorite, Glenmark Pharma. But all of them in terms of valuations are rich. So now we are looking elsewhere, and that company which is attracting our attention now is Biocon. As far as Ranbaxy goes, I think it's the most difficult company to understand the pharma sector. Over the last 4 years, 5 years, underperformed widely as compared to the pharma index. And I think looking at the way the problems are right now, just trying to buy into it because the stock has come down is not, according to me, something which I'm going to advise my investors. So I think in Ranbaxy, I was always negative on the stock, and I remain negative despite the fact that quite a few people feel that negatives are now discounted. I don't believe that one should be buying into a stock just because the stock has come down sharply. People should be buying because the stock will go up. And I don't see any reasons why Ranbaxy should be going up in a hurry, at least from the present levels.
Ambarish, from this space, which ones would you buy and which ones would you avoid? Pharma?
Pharma, like I said, we are currently buying Sun Pharma, Lupin, Dr. Reddy's, and we've been buying this for a while. The ones which are ignoring are Ranbaxy and Cipla to a large extent, but Ranbaxy is a clear avoid.
Have you changed your mind on metals after looking at the recent results, or you still stay shy of that sector?
No, in fact, after the results, both Tata Steel, we have suggested a buy at those lower levels. Even Hindalco should be a buy at these levels. I think Hindalco has more or less bottomed out at that range of 1995. After that, we have seen a decent move, but still it's a buy at these levels. And like Tata Steel also, we feel that it can move up to levels of closer to about 380, 390 over the next couple of months.
Hemant, any of the heavyweights on which you're seeing a short rollover into the June series?
See, in fact, if you see stocks like Mithali Real Estate, I really see a sharp shorts being rolled in stocks like DLF, India Bulls Real Estate, HDIL, that's one area. Infrastructure again doesn't suggest any good rollovers. When I say infrastructure, stocks like IVRCL, GMR, these are not suggesting good rollovers. And the banking, PSU banks, that's the third sector where I am slightly worried. And that even I am saying about the leader itself, SBI, is suggesting good shorts being rolled into the next series. So that's a main concern area for me.
What kind of positions did you see built on Tata Motors yesterday, Hemant? I mean, were people building any kind of hedge, or were people mostly long on that stock?
See, I will put it this way, that people were expecting good results, because if you see both the rollovers and the positions for day wise also, they were on the long side. I am not saying they were expecting extraordinary results, but rollovers were already on the long side. So I think auto as a sector is going to do fairly well. Hero Motors and Tata Motors have the best rollover cost, and today Tata Motors will move up. But for me, important is it should cross 320, because June series call writing is heaviest at 320. Once it crosses 320, I think we'll see another 10-15 rupees flare up from there.
Medabun, what will you do with HDIL this morning after all the negative news flow?
I think continue to remain negative on the entire sector, and HDL in particular. The company has got its own problems, buzzes in the air for quite some time. And while all types of excuses can be given, we feel that most of the companies in this particular sector, the biggest crime they have done is that they have shortened their balance sheet in a very big way. So till the time they can't rectify their problems on the balance sheet, I think honestly looking at them at most can be from a trading angle. As far as HDL goes, we feel the problems are there. The news is negative, and despite the fact that the price has come down, I don't think there are any reasons why one should go and buy into this particular stock, even from a trading angle.
Okay, time for the pre-opening now. Here comes the Nifty's first rate, and that is, well, down 120. That will correct itself. It's not going to be that bad in opening, or nearly that bad in opening. Still 100 down, but the Sensex is showing you the right picture. It's up 3 points, so it looks like a flat opening should come up, but the pre-opening needs to adjust because there are some big downticks on ONGC and ICICI Bank. As they get to more realistic levels, you'll see the Nifty pulling back. But for now, there is some softness in stocks like Infosys, Reliance, TCS, ITC, HUL. So these are the kind of names which are keeping a little bit of a pressure on the Nifty. But technology across the board, some of the banks like ICICI Bank, IndusInd Bank look like they could be sluggish, but these rates could change around very easily. Among other losers, M&M ahead of results today, HDFC in the financial space, some of the metals like Sasagoa, Hindalco, even NMDC subdued. NMDC reacting to results which came in yesterday. Cipla is a bit soft as well, and that may well be soft because numbers were disappointing, frankly. So that's your set of losers. I don't know, ONGC, the volumes are pretty large and the stock has still not adjusted too much. It's still down about 10%. It does not deserve anything close to that on the results, though the PAT was a miss. So the Nifty is still down about 40 odd points on the back of these names. What's trying to hold it up, Mithali?
Well, Tata Motors mostly, Udin. That is the biggest gainer this morning. In pre-opening, it's up about 3.5%. So let's see what it does for itself. Just a quick status check on the rupee before anything else. No dramatic pullback, but small relief. 56.14. That's where the rupee opens up after having closed at 56.17. Now 56.11. So beginning to pull back a little bit. Let's see if we can do some damage control for the currency through today because of what's happened with the dollar. Tata Motors, as I said, up 3.5%. BPCL not doing too badly. That stock is up about 1.5%, and there's a little bit of buying happening, and I emphasize little bit on heavyweights like SBI and ITC. So those two stocks are holding up. DLF ahead of its numbers is fairly calm. The one to watch out for from autos, by the way, is also Hero Moto. Stealth gains on that one, but over the last 3 days it's rallied about 9% or more. So keep an eye out on Hero Moto and whether that as well is an interesting stock within the auto space. Otherwise, not a special day for the market. Pretty weak on market breadth, and the Nifty is still trading down more than 0.5%, while the Sensex is down about 27 points. So let's see what we do through the course of the day. Udin. There's this push and pull between expiry on the one hand and this patchy, sticky kind of global environment.
Yeah, I don't think markets will correct too much, Mithali, right now because, it survived a scare. It bounced back from what we were describing as roughly a 1/3 retracement of the entire rally from 55 to 6,200. So I think the general view in the market is that we have strong supports right now, and unless something goes for a toss globally, which no one can predict because of liquidity fears or anything else, we should be okay for now. So working with that kind of a base just below 6,000, 5,900 to 6,000, I think traders want to buy small dips right now because that worked last time round, and therefore don't see the possibility of a major drop down in the market immediately. How much higher it goes post expiry, because today you can rule out, it's all about adjustments. You will see last half an hour volatility. It could expire at 61.50, it could be closer to 6,000, 6,050. It's the throw of a dart today. Once this is out of the way, I think you then start to think about scenarios for June in terms of global and local outcomes, and whether we get to 60 to 20, form a range of 6,000, 6,200, within which individual stocks do their number in the first part of June, which is also a likelihood. But right now something has to change globally in the perception of risk on for this market to correct very meaningfully, and by meaningful I mean below the levels that we saw just a few weeks back, just last week. So for now I think we are okay with the market. It's an uneasy calm, admittedly, particularly because the breadth is not there, but that's the way it is sometimes.
Also a slightly choppy market for traders who've had a clean run so far. And I was just looking at volatility indices. The CBOE VIX is up 2%. Our own VIX is up 4%. For people who track emerging markets, it actually shot up 8% overnight. So it's a much more tricky kind of run over the last couple of sessions.
Well, bound to be, because markets actually recalibrated up to a level of valuations now around 61, 6,200, where for the Nifty to go up even another 5-7% would require a stretch, and that stretch can happen because of perceptions of global risk on, liquidity, momentum, all of those reasons. But fundamentally you're running into really strong walls now in terms of where some of the individual high quality names have reached in terms of valuations, the lack of support from earnings, which is making valuations look even more stretched in those pockets which have gone up. Remember that a narrow market, when it goes up, inevitably means that a small basket of stocks is getting more and more expensive with every passing week, and sometimes valuations or earnings are not quite in sync with the kind of premium that you're paying for some of those sectors. So how much more will you push those sectors? So you will need to bank on momentum then, where you say market's broken out, and therefore let's chase stocks which have not moved so far. Let's chase the underperformers. Let's go to the high beta names. Let's go to the cyclicals, and then those stocks start moving up and propelling the market forward. So you will have to rediscover momentum, and that happens when the Nifty starts trading sustainably above that 6200, 6220 mark. If that happens, the market may open up another leg of momentum. Fundamentally warranted or not is not that significant in the short term, but till you do that, you probably are in a situation where there are a lot of fundamental things to fret about, and therefore the Nifty might say we are not ready to make that momentum dash to a new high, and therefore we'll consolidate in a range, and within that individual stocks will be where traders make some money. That's one scenario which can certainly play out in the early part of the June series.
It looks like a nervous run for the market this morning. So down 0.5% for the Nifty. Bharti is down 3% in reaction to reports that the DOT may have slapped a very, very large demand notice on them. So that stock is down about 3% in trade. ONGC is still a bit nervous. And on the upside, Tata Motors is up about 3.5% or so. Today as well, we've got some interesting earnings again, especially from spaces like real estate, etc.
I don't think you'll get much joy from DLF, not because of what HDIL reported yesterday, but it's a quiet phase right now. The feedback that one gets from the real estate space, so DLF might be a quiet set of numbers. And stock's done its bit over the last quarter or so because of all the news flow it has had to digest, and now maybe it needs to flatline a bit. I don't think people are very enamored of the real estate space right now in the stock market, at least. And also you are not seeing great participation from the infrastructure space for obvious reasons, and today you will see numbers like IVRCL which will probably tell you that things are not improving greatly on the margin. There's SAIL, which might be a wishy-washy set of numbers. I think the big one is M&M clearly today, but you know, M&M's volume growth expected is 7-8% now, so they are not like in that rock star groove that they were in the last few quarters, where you know the UV was a blowout kind of phase. They were just reaping the benefits of being the first big mover in that area, but now competition has kicked in, that market share has come off, and now growth is moderating to a slightly less scorching space. Or tractors are okay, but they are not like in high double-digit kind of growth phase anyway. So margins should be stable for M&M, but volume growth is not quite as good as it was in previous quarters. Therefore, we'll probably see a steady set of earnings, but not quite a scorcher.
Tata Motors is up nearly 3.5% in pre-opening, but it's interesting, you haven't seen the dial move too much in terms of earnings upgrades on that one within. Some people perhaps are cautious about, you know, domestic problems, what happens with depreciation for JLR, etc. But the other point of view seems to be that Tata Motors should be benchmarked with its European peers, not the domestic guys, and hence it deserves to trade much higher.
Yeah, you know, when prices move, you hear all kinds of things. So let Tata Motors come down to 260, you'll have pictures of a truck driver, and when it's 350, you'll have BMW and Audi and Volkswagen and all of that. So, you know, post facto justification of prices is never very interesting to me. But
I gave you both points of view, so I'm telling you that both points of view exist.
Well, the stock will be a beamer this morning, let's put it that way. But you know, I think it's doing the right things. It took a big call on JLR some time back, initially did not pay off, now it's paying off, so you've got to hand it to them. But Tata Motors has some accounting issues which will not be discussed this morning, but which is why it sometimes does not, it always, you will note that it trades at a P multiple which looks optically very low, because they've done things in the past like passing down some costs which should have been passed down through the P&L, but they've taken hits on their balance sheet. So I think some of their accounting issues make the markets a little less sanguine about comparing it immediately with some of their global peers, and justifiably so. But I think valuations aside, the kind of trajectory that Tata Motors is seeing right now, they deserve a higher price point. So I think we'll get to 350 on Tata Motors quite soon. And it's that kind of market, Mithali, where people are hunting for, they want to build a portfolio. Whether that portfolio pays off right now or it pays off later, maybe in 2014, that's a different matter, because right now markets still remain volatile. And in that portfolio construction, I think a lot of people are figuring out what to do with two clusters of stocks, rate sensitives and cyclicals, and what kind of weightage they want to attach to those names. Generally, there is discomfort in chasing valuations in consumers and even pharma right now. So in that basket, or in that hunt for what will pay off when cyclicals and rate sensitive start to actually perform big time, I think Tata Motors is putting its hand up and saying, I need to be in the portfolio. And you can think of a few other names from the financial side which are probably doing the same. So I think in a portfolio construction for next year, I think Tata Motors has probably strengthened its case to be included.
And there's no cooler looking car than the Jaguar. The Tata Motors stock closing up about 3.5% in pre-opening. The rest of the market actually not doing that well, so 0.5% down for the key indices. Sudarshan is back to talk about that. Sudarshan, first a word on the index. If you do get this kind of softness, what kind of trading approach should somebody playing the Nifty take?